Hello and welcome back to Obsessive Prepper AZ. Today I want to do a little discussion about current events going on, and then I still want to go back and I nail it into the ground over and over again why we prep and why you still should prep. Now, recently we did a video, my husband and I did a collab video about him going to the grocery store. And I got a few comments I wanted to clarify on that. One, in his video, he talked about going to Walmart and seeing the aisles and how empty they were. And he also in the video had mentioned that he had picked up 2 laundry detergents because there was only 2 left. Well, first of all, in the video, and if you go to his channel, Highwayman Trucking, he discusses that he needed the laundry detergent. We're not hoarders by any means. And I have to say, thankfully, because we are preppers, we didn't have to run to the grocery store and get bulk items like everybody. And you know, that video was a little bit people making comments that I was laughing, and I was laughing, but it was more laughing about I couldn't believe the extremes of the grocery stores being empty. We're preppers, and preppers out there, you know you're prepared. But I never in my mind thought that the groceries would be wiped out this long to this extreme. And I was more laughing in this video about I couldn't believe that baking was gone. Flours, yeast, your sugars, anything to bake a loaf of bread with. I expected soups, instant things like our top ramen soups, but some of the things I never even imagined that people would rush to the store to get. And then I know it also got to a certain level where there wasn't anything left, so people were just grabbing what they could. I get that. But that goes always back to why we prep. Now, this whole thing gets done with, and we, you know, let's call it 4 months from now, 6 months from now, we are all back to our normal life. Do we continue to carry on day by day, like a lot of this world has, where we expect the grocery stores to have our product for us in 2 to 3 days? Or do we go on and move past that and realize that we have to have a certain amount of food and supplies in our house to get us past any event? Now, all of my followers out there know that I have always preached that you've got to be prepared for, you know, economic disaster, for natural disasters, loss of job, loss of income, health. Now this comes along, and now we have the situation where we're all in our houses, self-isolation, social distancing, and it makes me really want to preach harder why you need to, after this is all settled, keep prepping. And you know, and there's a certain part going back to also, there is kind of a self-satisfaction that as preppers, we are prepared. And, you know, I hear of so many people that say, well, quit picking up this, don't get this. It's human nature. No different in the video, my husband had said that even he got caught up into it, and that's why he picked up 3 cases of top ramen noodles. You get caught up into what's going on, and it's human nature. It's human nature when there is a hurricane and you don't have any food that you haul off to the grocery store and get the supplies that you think that you need. Not everyone's the same. They're not going to pick up the same supplies. This time it was toilet paper and water. But if you're a prepper and you just plan for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, you don't have to worry about these things. The grocery stores won't be depleted because your home is taken care of. You're not living day by day. There was one of my thoughts. Another thought that's going on right now is there's a lot of chatter on social media of it's just the flu. It's just the flu, the comparisons of, and it may be just like the flu. And I'm not going to get into what kills more, what does more. What I'm going to say is be respectful to family, friends that may not think the same way you do. We do not all have to think the same. But we don't have to be so vocally to express what we believe. And the attacks back and forth on YouTube, one thing or another, social media, it's just, please, none of us, be it the flu, cancer, diseases, that we want anybody or any loss of life. Nobody wants that. So I'm a little bit more concerned with it. I mean, we have never seen the likes of what we have, where nations shut down completely. You know, my husband and I were over in Europe a couple years ago, and we went to Rome, we went to Greece, we went to these places that have just tons and tons of people in their society, let alone the tourists. They don't live in open areas like I am fortunate here in Arizona. Now we got New York and San Francisco that is similar to Europe, where there's people living on top of people, and they're going to have issues. And so, you know, this is where that social distancing plays into, you know, your minds that you need to follow. It's your grandparents. Now, I lost both my parents to cancer. I know what it's like to lose people to cancer and other diseases. But the impact virus is going to implicate all of us, is going to affect all of us. And these 2 weeks or 3 weeks of self-isolation, quarantine, that kind of thing, if you can imagine, if we can do just that, the amount of lives that may not be sick, and even though you want to throw those numbers around on the flu, maybe the people that have the flu, that have pneumonia, that are in the hospital, the people have cancer that are in the hospital, people with autoimmune diseases that are in the hospital now or at home, maybe we don't have to get them sick because we care enough that we don't want anybody to die for any reason whatsoever. So can we be a little bit more humane and quit tossing these numbers around that the flu or people died more of? What we want is nobody to die from drugs. We don't want anybody to die from disease. And I'm just saying, please, let's all just be a little bit more humane and care about your fellow neighbor, your fellow family member, the people around you. And don't be just so with the dagger going, I'm right, because it is just one of those things where I hope to gosh nobody's right. I hope to gosh this is just a big old nothing. It's hard to say. You know, we never in our lifetimes have watched, other than in wartime, trucks going through the streets of Italy with lost ones. A third thought, you that follow me know that my husband has struggled, had a massive surgery, a triple bypass. He struggles with diabetes. And this Friday, we had to go to the emergency room, and he has a pulmonary embolism in his lung. He had blood clot in his lung. And, you know, you've got to think, in this situation, do you want to go to the hospital with your family member and be told that you can't go inside? I dealt with it. I see story after story, I'm giving myself chills, that people have to go to the hospital and have no family members with them, and not knowing what they're going to be diagnosed or what's going to happen to them. You know, nursing homes where children can't go visit their family members, their loved ones. You know, so I had to go home and sit idly by the phone and wait for his diagnosis and what they were going to do. Fortunate enough, he's at home and he's taking medication, and, you know, they're going to follow up and make sure he's all right. But seriously, do you want to have a loved one that's in the hospital and they're on their last moments, and the only people that they have with them is themselves and maybe a nurse that they really don't know, or a doctor? Human compassion is all I'm asking for. You know, I saw in a story where a wife passed away, and her spouse was so sick that he couldn't see her before she passed away. And it just breaks my heart. You've got children that are in hospitals and loved ones, and they can't have visitors. And I just don't think the last thing you want to see is your family member rolling in a military truck down the streets because there's not a way to bury that many people. There's not a way to be able to do all of this. And I know now I'm rambling, and I have a tendency to do that. I get told a lot that I repeat myself a lot, and I'm sorry, but I'm just compassionate about certain items, and prepping again is one of them. Please, once this is over with, start prepping again. If you're already preppers, keep it maintained because it just validates what you already know and what you do. If you've never prepped before, I've got inexpensive, $10 a week, prepping for beginners. I've got a series, that series is 1 through 10, and it gives you knowledge on how to prep for $10 a week. And this goes back to people that are on limited incomes. I get it. Sometimes it's barely just being able to make your bills and feed your family, but I try to give you ways to have some kind of food storage on $10 a week. And so please be compassionate, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll all get through this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. If you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. God bless you all.